indeed. I am really excited to be with you guys today. I am, you guys froze on me. Are you still there? Okay, perfect. So I'm really excited to be with you guys, have a conversation, chat with you about GE and chat with you a little bit about who we are. It's really an amazing journey. I'm an NSU alum, so it's always exciting to have these conversations with Emilio, previously with a different company, and now being at GE and having these continued conversations is great. So I'm just going to go over with you guys a little bit about GE. Like I said, everyone thinks GE is appliances. They think we're not fun. It's all about Facebook and Amazon. And unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, we're not appliances. We actually sold that part of our company, just the FYI, and we allow them to still use the name GE. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of that as well and shed more light on the GE Miami office and how that came about, and tell you about our internship program as well. So I am the new GE HR manager in our GE Miami office. If you see at the top of the screen, it says Core Tech and Cyber. And I'll explain to you a little bit about Core Tech, Cyber, and Risk in just a second. So essentially, I know you're probably wondering, why are we speaking to the HR manager, right? Why are we having that conversation with this person instead of with maybe the talent acquisition team, etc. And tell me when you guys are able to see my screen. Let me know. All right, perfect. So you're probably wondering, why are we having a conversation with the HR manager? Where's the campus recruiter? Well, hopefully you'll find out through the presentation all of the really amazing things happening within GE Miami. So GE Miami is shaped a little bit different. It's not shaped in the traditional, whereas our internship recruiter, I kind of function as that as well. I function as our pipeline for the Miami space. GE Miami is very committed to South Florida talent and that early career talent, especially around computer science and engineering. And again, we'll share that a little bit, but I focus as the pipeline developer, community relations manager, and HR manager for GE Miami. Uh-oh, what happened here? There we go. So the GE organization. So GE exists to bring real progress and possibility to every corner of the planet. And we have over 283,000 employees in 180 different countries. And we've been around for over 125 years of innovation. Some of you guys may know that already, which is really exciting. I'm also really proud to include in that we're a Fortune 25 company. So we're ranked in the top 25 for Forbes in terms of, you know, having that global presence in the economy and revenue, which is also something that you really don't see here in South Florida. Yes, we have World Fuel, Burger King, we have Ultimate and all those other great companies, but to have a company of our size right here in South Florida is a really big deal, and we're excited to be here. So what does GE look like? Everyone, again, like I said at the beginning, it's like GE and they think appliances, they think dishwashers and stoves and ovens. Well, GE has 6 different businesses. And so we have GE Aviation, GE Corporate, Digital, Healthcare, Power, and Renewable Energy. All right, so these are the headquarter locations for each of those locations. Each of these GE businesses have their own C-suite, which is pretty interesting. So even though they're their own business, they have their own CFOs, their own chief information technology officers, their own CEOs, we still operate under this one big, huge umbrella of GE, but the businesses have their own revenue and operations, finance team, etc. The pretty cool thing about that is that you can apply and hop from business to business and learn so much more about each of the GE businesses. And so a lot of really good things come out of each of these areas. GE Aviation in terms of engines for airplanes, and GE Digital, healthcare. All of these areas have something really impactful that you can see in your everyday lives. So this is actually who we are And I'm going to scale it down a little bit more for you guys and show you GE Corporate. So GE Corporate is where I fall under, and is where our Miami office falls under as well. So GE Corporate has these subunits, a part of their broader organization. So we have business development, business innovations, core tech, and cyber. Digital technology, our corporate executive office, finance, global law and policy, global research, and human resources. And if you notice on the presentation, you'll see that corporate core tech and cyber and corporate digital technology is highlighted. Well, it's highlighted because that's our focal point in the Miami office, and that's the talent pipeline that we're looking to bring in for our group. Now, corporate technology and cyber risk, we have several different locations as well as digital technology. So now you're starting to see a little bit of the funnel. You're hearing about all of the GE businesses, then you get GE corporate and the breakdown of the job units or business units within that segment. And now you're hearing about the locations. So we have our core tech, cyber, and risk group in Glen Allen, Virginia, Atlanta, Miami, and Cincinnati. And then our digital technology, we have heads in Detroit, Schenectady, New York, and then Norwalk, Connecticut. So we're definitely not as small as we may seem, being like, what is GE corporate? So that's a question that I get a lot. Well, what is GE corporate? I know aviation, I know healthcare, but corporate what? So GE corporate functions as almost like a shared service. We're responsible for supporting the other businesses. So GE Aviation and healthcare and all of the businesses I just mentioned to you a second ago, we support those businesses and making sure that they have everything that they need to function and operate, right? And so the Miami office, again, fits in the core tech, cyber, and risk. Now, to take it a little bit further, within the Miami office, or not just the Miami office, but core tech, cyber, and risk, we have our Smart Health Expert Service Desk, Level 2 support, unified communication, our MyTech portal, and I'll explain that to you in just a second, our site delivery, MyTech Lounge, and then for cyber technology and risk, identity and access management, threat, and governance. And of course, these are, again, in the locations, Glen Allen, Miami, Cincinnati, Schenectady, etc. So let's get down to the reason why we're here and talk a little bit more about GE Miami, all right? So GE Miami is an engineering-focused workplace. We're located in Coconut Grove. So if you aren't too familiar, or maybe you have heard of Coconut Grove, but can't figure out exactly where it's at, it's in Miami. I would say a couple of miles south of downtown Miami and Brickell. So if you know downtown Miami, if you know Brickell, if you've hung out there, I've been in those areas, think maybe, I would say 3 miles south of that is our office. We, in 2019, hired over 40 employees as part of our new software product and engineering team. Today, we have over 10 roles open. However, due to COVID, I will be completely transparent and share with you that, we are looking at each role on a case-by-case essential basis, just because there has been, business impact. The world is changing. And so with that, the type of roles that we hire for in Miami, product management, front and back end software engineering, software quality assurance and testing, user experience and visual design. So the UX and UI team also sits in Miami. And our team that sits in Miami is very much not the traditional group, right? So we have people that maybe came, through boot camps and didn't have that experience, or came through internships, or maybe they were hired as a community partnership through interns. And then there are those that, of course, we hire through traditional means. Maybe they have the background and the experience. So our office in Miami is pretty young, guys. We're a very young group. We have about 200 employees, give or take, in our Miami location. And so I would say about the average age of that group is about 27, 28 years old. So imagine what our office is like. Definitely not the general corporate sense. I also mentioned to you a second ago about, us also having, our support desk. So our global support desk team also sits in Miami, and we have more of the entry-level roles for that. So who do they support? They support our 500,000 plus internal end users in terms of any issues that could be, including not just GE full-time employees, but also contractors and vendors, etc., and any of the issues that they have. So our Miami office is purely an office for all things tech. With that being said, part of the reason that the Miami office exists is due to this amazing product called MyTech. And MyTech is a product that was created by a gentleman by the name of Dave Chapman, who is our VP that sits in Miami. And so this project was originally created just for GE businesses, right? It was an idea that Dave came up with and said, hey, how can we create a better user experience and kind of modernize and centralize, ordering, inventory, asset lifecycle management, helping support and cost management, do all of those things in one place. And so he came up with this product that's known internally, like I said, as the MyTech product. And so with that, the Miami office, just the FYI, is very new. We're in the very early stages. We've only existed for 3 years. So we're just now tapping out into the community a little more than previous years. And unfortunately with COVID, it slows us down a little bit as we, try to identify new ways of engaging and connecting with our community partners and our collegiate relationships and building those. But essentially Miami is definitely a young office. And so Dave came up with this product. Dave actually started with GE as an intern. He's a fairly young guy. He went through our DTLP program, and I'll explain that to you a little bit later because that's something that you guys can apply to as well. And he just, was encouraged, like all employees are, to just shine. And so that's what he did. And so he came up with this. He was curious and he had questions, and he was like, well, why are we doing it this way? And as a result, we have MyTech. The amazing thing about MyTech product is that we're commercializing it as we speak. So it's a really exciting time to see something that Dave created being brought to life. And it's something that we sell on the enterprise level. So it's meant for companies on a very high level. And it enables them to be more efficient overall as a business. So that's something that we're very proud of here in the Miami office, and that's one of the things that we actually leverage. It's a one place for consistent consumer-like experience with IT. It empowers employees to have self-service and remediation and improve efficiencies. So, and it also reduces overhead costs, if we're going to be completely honest. So think about it this way: me as a new hire, and I'm just giving you one example of many that I could give. Traditionally on the first day, you have someone, they come, they bring you their laptop, they set it up, make it all nice, and make sure you have all the systems and everything you needed. Well, with the MyTech product, one of the things that it'll do from the very beginning, once your manager orders this laptop from you, it skips that person. It's given directly to you. You sit it down and you put all the systems in place. It's very user-friendly, and that's top of mind when creating this product. And so Dave partnered with our former CIO, saw the product and said, wait a minute, this is amazing. And I'm from South Florida. Why don't we bring this down to Miami? And he had a vision of making and creating Miami as a tech hub. And that's exactly what we've done today, which is exciting. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more so of what you guys might interest you guys a little bit more and talk about the internship and DTLP. So GE, of course, has internships, and DTLP stands for digital technology. So we're going back to the wording there, leadership program. Okay. So our internships are slated to not just for juniors or sophomores. We encourage anyone that's a student that is curious, that are in leadership roles, that are active, that are engaged, that may have tried to create and build something and it didn't quite work out, to consider GE as an employer of choice. As you guys know, many companies that are our size, they have internship programs and they have leadership programs. Well, for us, how we look at our internship programs, we look at those that are part of our internship programs as future business leaders of GE. And so we've had our C-suite executives start as interns. It's not uncommon at all to hear someone in GE say, I've been with GE for 30 years. You're like, oh, wow, 25 years. If you're with GE for 5 years, you're still a baby. And so it's not uncommon at all. And we're really excited and proud of what's happening in Miami because, engineers, usually that 2-year mark, they time out, they move on to something else because there's no innovation, there's no creativity, and that's not happening in our Miami office. We're not seeing that turnover there. And so we looked at that and I was like, wow, we have something really special happening here. There's always an opportunity to engage. There's that creativity in the engineering space. So that's super exciting. We're always challenging ourselves, and Dave is challenging his leadership in the team to really dig in, really dig deep, and be that front runner to create and innovate and change the world as we know it. And that's the type of mindset that we want our interns and DTLP participants to have. When we think of our interns, like I said, we see as future leaders of GE. And I'll tell you why. It's the gateway to our DTLP program. So when we're identifying participants for our internship, we're saying, hey, maybe this person is already exploring. We're not expecting you to come in and have all of this wealth of knowledge. No, we're expecting someone exactly like I said, that's open, that's trying, that's curious, that are in leadership roles, engaged in community, and that are saying, yeah, I want to dig in my heels a little bit more. And so as a result of that, when we identify you for an internship, we're thinking about slating you. Ideally, we want to convert you over to a DTLP. All of our internships are paid opportunities. I want to say they're about maybe 25 bucks or so an hour. I'm not really sure, to quote me on that. And then our DTLPs get paid very nicely as well. And they travel, right? They have a rotational program. Maybe they spend their first rotation in New York, and then they go to Miami, and then they go to Cincinnati. So the opportunities within this group is phenomenal. So once we have an internship, ideally we would like for an intern to potentially participate with us for 2 summers. If it's 1 summer, that's fine. Ideally 2 would be great. And you probably, maybe it's a couple of you guys who are juniors or seniors and like, man, I can't even be an intern because I'm getting ready to graduate next year. Are there opportunities for me to be a part of the DTLP program potentially? That answer is potentially yes, there is that opportunity. It really just depends on, to be transparent, headcount and where we are in terms of recruiting and what that looks like. So you'll see those roles posted. You'll see I plan on being on campus, hopefully all goes well in the fall, to be able to meet, bring some of the team. We hope, crossing my fingers, to have some Nova students, host them in our Miami office. We would love to do that so that you can meet the team, engage, and kind of find out more about us and how things work, and just really build that rapport and that relationship with us. So jobs that are filled by our DTLPs. So like I said before, hopefully DTLP, the goal is they're future GE leaders. And the jobs that in 2019 that these guys filled, definitely slated for these type of roles. senior software engineer, senior technical program managers, software engineer, senior build and release engineers, and senior infrastructure architects. So these are not entry-level roles by any means, and these roles are in preparation for future leadership roles within GE. GE has a, how do I say it, a process where we encourage individuals to stay within their roles for at least 2 years. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it's much sooner than that, or it can be sooner than that. But at the 2-year mark, and prior to the 2-year mark, we start having different types of conversations, or your people leader will start to have different conversations. So in GE, we really want you to grow. And then we say, you know, how can we help? How can we partner? How can we get you to your end goal? And what does that look like? So from there, if you're applying to an internship, if you're applying to the DTLP program, we really begin our heavy recruitment season in the fall. So September, October. I'm really not sure what that's going to look like this year, but please rest assured I will be in communications with Kay and Wanda and Amelia, so that you guys are well informed of what's happening and keeping you guys up to date on the application process for internship opportunities and DTLP opportunities for 2021. So ideally, if we do virtual career fairs, however NOVA, you know, is slated to handle and what the world looks like at that time, or just a traditional career fair, hopefully you will definitely see GE there. I plan on being there. So we encourage you to apply as soon as we open any job recs. And of course, the team will be aware of when that occurs. That's our heavy recruitment season for us in the fall. And so I encourage individuals to apply sooner rather than later. And the reason why I encourage that is because January, February, we kind of have an idea, it tapers off sometimes around that time, especially around March. So just being engaged and in contact is really important. Our internships are 12 weeks long. So it's definitely pretty much, you know, from May to August or June to August, depending on, you know, what the team looks like, but that's ideally how long the internship is. So I'm gonna pause really quickly. I know I've been sharing a lot of information just to see if there were any questions that were raised about anything that I had shared thus far.
So currently there are no questions. Does anyone want to add a quick question?
We're good.
So one of the questions was, how would the internship work this year?
Oh, really good question. So we gave a lot of thought. Our senior leaders, our internship and campus recruitment team gave a lot of thought to this. So we're doing a virtual format. There was very little consideration to canceling the internship. Absolutely no way, Jose. So they'll do the virtual format. We've already started like onboarding. If, you know, we come across with collaboration and with teams to make sure that it's very structured, that they still get what they need, they're still engaged, they're still being impactful, because our interns aren't just traditional interns. At GE, it's not you go get the coffee. Like, you're actually hands-in, having conversations, partnering, engaging, collaborating. And we wanted to stay true to that traditional format. So we had to identify, what does that look like in the virtual world? I'm really excited to say I saw a piece of that, format and presentation, that they have it broken down week by week with touch points and contacts and all of the tools necessary to make that happen. So the only thing, unfortunately, that changes is that it won't be, you know, face to face, but everything else is pretty much the same. Good question. Okay, you're on mute.
Sorry. Another question, do you have any opportunities for data analyst and business analyst?
Not right now, and not in the Miami office. So we're still, well, not in the Miami office. Let me say that. Um, I need to kind of find out, what this looks like, but I know we're planning on at one point we were planning on adding those type of roles to the Miami office to expand, but not sure, with everything going on, where that is in the plans right now. But for the Miami office, no. However, if you come across something and you go to GE Careers and you see an opportunity, flag it to me, and I'll share my contact information, and then maybe I can find out the information or connect you to that individual.
Okay, and someone piggybacked off that and said, or about machine learning or AI opportunities?
Very, very similar. The only roles right now that I know that we had open were for software engineering. We have some level 1 support desk roles that are open, but those are the only two, and we have multiples of those, and product management. However, we're now looking at those and just reviewing case by case, but not at the moment. Anything that we would have has been put on pause just to see.
Okay, and then I'll do there's 2 more questions. We'll do those. We'll kind of hold off. When do you see full-time apps open for summer 2021? I think, Connor, clarify, are you talking about like full-time job applications or internships for summer 2021? And then there was another question about Master of Science graduates, like do you have opportunities for them in cybersecurity?
So cybersecurity, if you're willing to move to Glen Allen, then that potential is definitely there. I would be more interested specifically in which direction you want to go, and I'd be more than happy to chat a little bit more about that with this specific person offline.
Okay, and he did clarify, he was talking about for graduates for summer 2021 or May 2021. When would those applications open, or is it just based on need?
Well, it's always based upon need, right? It's always based upon business need, and it's always based upon client need, customer need as well. 2021 is so far away. These things change quickly, right? Ideally, we do, succession planning and have an idea of what that looks like. Right now, I honestly don't know because of COVID. Now, my understanding is that we're not planning to stop, or the Miami office isn't growing, or we're making such drastic changes. GE is of the mindset we need to keep our people. This is, a tough space, but let's figure out how we make the necessary adjustments and go from there. So that answer to the question I don't have today. I hope to have that in the coming weeks. So I would encourage you, I think Connor, I would encourage you to stay connected, keep an eye out, because things change so quickly. And right now it's a level of uncertainty. So stay connected. And again, I'll share you guys, Kate, Emilio, feel free to share my information, or you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm active on there, responding to messages every day.
Okay. Wanda shared your LinkedIn in the chat earlier, so hopefully students.
Awesome. Great. Yeah.
There are a few more questions. Do you want me to give them to you, or do you want to continue on and we'll hold them for the end? You tell me.
Well, let's go through the rest of the presentation. It's not much. Maybe I might answer a question or two that way, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Great questions, guys. I'm glad that you guys are thinking about your futures and the direction you would like to go. So I just added a couple pictures of the Miami office. I figured I can't go in and show you videos. So I'm like, well, how can I actually show them a little bit of what our Miami office looks like? And I actually had some pictures in my phone, and I was like, oh, I'll add this to the presentation. I cut out the conference room. I missed the technology there, but This is the entrance level to our office. As you guys see, the stairwell, not the stairwells, but the stairs with the seats there. Sometimes you have employees that go there. I know I use that space, and I'll sit there when I'm tired of being at my desk. I'll sit there and, just work or talk on the phone in that area. We have movie nights there. So our Miami office is all about culture and family. So we have breakfasts every week. They order us breakfast every Thursday that we eat together as an office. So one week it might be Chick-fil-A. The next week it might be Einstein Bagels or empanadas the week after that. So it really just depends. There's always something going on in the Miami office. Typically when we have family movie night, everyone comes, bring their families, we sit there, we have a huge projector that comes down from the ceiling, and we watch videos together. We have HR, wing night, happy hours. It's always something to do with the Miami team, which is great. If you guys see the picture in the center, I didn't get all of the games, but I got a few of them. This isn't uncommon where you have employees that sit, come, take a break, play video games, ping pong, whatever they want to do. I have yet to use it, and not because I don't want to, but just because I like surfing the net instead. So you'll find me on the couch. I'm not a gamer. And then you can see the office space. So not the entire office doesn't look like the picture up top, but the engineers, our software engineers, our UX, UI design team, this is their space in which they sit. So it's an open collaborative environment. And then at the bottom is our outdoor, bottom right corner is a portion of our outdoor patio. We actually have a couple couches out there as well. And that's open to the outdoors. So, because we're in a very secure space and you have to have access to get to our floor and even into our building, sometimes people want to just step outside for a second or have meetings outside. And so sometimes you'll see individuals having meetings out here on the patio where they can get some fresh air. If it's not raining and if it's not too hot, we'll also engage there as well. So this is a little bit of an idea of what the office looks like. It's not the entire office by any means, but just to give you a little bit of a snapshot. So, I didn't get that. Oh, sorry, Siri. So this is an example of more of a senior background. I don't want to spend too much time on this. As I was actually going through the presentation, I thought it would have been better if I would have included some more relevant information for you guys. And so essentially, when you're applying to the internship or DTLP, we have essential responsibilities in our job description and basic qualifications for each of the roles. So when you're looking at applying to a GE role, just make sure that you're looking at the basic qualifications. Make sure that you are looking at the essential responsibilities and kind of seeing if you're measuring up against that. The desired qualifications are also important, and in a way, not that, hey, you have to have these things, but I'm just highlighting it as business acumen and leadership, echoing the type of candidate profile that we're looking for when we're having conversations. Again, by all means, we have some brilliant minds, some creative beings that work for GE that have come in a non-traditional route. I probably don't have a traditional background as well in terms of my experience, but I have what GE is looking for, or I had what GE is looking for, and they said, wow, this girl's really bright. Same thing with you guys. I would not, and this is for any job, I would not be dissuaded by what you see in essentials or desired qualifications. Just make sure that your resume truly reflects all of the hard work, your interests, your passions, and the things that you've done. This is an example of a very senior finalist resume. This isn't an intern, this isn't a DTLP resume. This is someone with a few years of experience, but I thought it would be good to kind of show you. The reason being is because it follows that theme of leadership, business acumen, etc., technical ability, and highlighting that. So when you guys are putting your resumes together, or you should already have them, hopefully, when you're kind of working through them, think about some of these areas. Your resume isn't going to sound or look like this probably at your level, right? Because you're still in school, but these are the type of things that we're looking for. So maybe you didn't mentor, maybe you mentored a kid in high school, or maybe you're doing big brothers, big sisters, or maybe your friends put together a working group or something like that. Like, those things are really important. So we would definitely want you to highlight that. Any projects that you've done where you've led or collaborated, highlight those as well and tell us about the outcome. So these are the things that we consider to be important and essential. And I think this is more or less what the resumes may look like, right? So at your level, being that you're still in school and getting that knowledge and gaining that experience. So your resumes here, you know, you have your GPA, you're listing that. So the verbiage here is more so what it may sound like, but again, if you can quantify your resume, or, you know, share any additional information in which there were outcomes to any actions or project that you were a part of, that would be great. Let me see here. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. Not sure if I answered any of those questions, but I think we have time, so definitely open to answering them now.
Okay, awesome. So let me see here. Let me just go back. The next question was, do you sponsor H-1B visas?
On a case-by-case basis, typically in the Miami office, we do not.
Okay, have you ever done, what about CPT?
CPT, I'm not sure that we've done that. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know in the Miami office, because the Miami office is still very new. So that would be something I would have to research and see if we've done the CPT before. But I'll give you guys that information, and you guys can share it as well.
That's awesome. So, and you'll let us know if because that maybe in other offices, they might do the H-1B visa.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to make a note of this to find out and share that with you guys.
Okay, awesome. Guys, add any more questions. There's like one more question in there. So if there's anything else, if you can go ahead and add it in there, I think that'll be easier than raising your hand and having to worry about unmuting and muting people. So go ahead and add that in there. The final question I have in here so far is, what are some of the technical requirements for the software engineer role?
Oh, good question. So let me do this. I'm going to actually give you a play-by-play of what that looks like. Because it's a little bit different. We have it's not a blank slate across the board, right? So let's say you want to do software engineer in Miami versus software engineer in Cincinnati, or GE Aviation versus corporate. It's a little bit different. So if you're thinking about, and I'm going to just assume here that you're thinking more of the Miami route, let me get that, and I can actually send it to the team, or I can send it to you directly, because I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head, but that's a really good question too. Let's see. Can you guys still see my screen? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to a different screen, so I don't want to change anything. Any other questions?
The only other question was the one regarding the cybersecurity that you mentioned for her to connect with you offline. Does anyone else have any other questions regarding internships? Or, oh, I do want to mention, I know I had shared with a lot of you guys the, is it desk? Am I saying it correctly? The IT position?
Yes.
The service desk position. So 2 people have already sent me their resumes, and I forward those along to Alexis. So if you are interested in that, please go ahead and send that to me, and I will get that over to her.
Please.
Yes, that role she is looking to fill. And you
Yeah.
have more than one or just one?
We have, I think, 2 or 3 at this point.
Okay. Right.
So yes.
And that pays, I think, yes, and is the service desk position, the position is not online for service desk, correct?
Nope, I don't have it online right now. So I have conversations with the hiring manager weekly, but it's definitely something that we are looking for. So just reach out to me. Like I said, guys, I am the HR person and recruiter on LinkedIn who does respond.
I think she meant, Joe was meaning it's not remote, correct? It's in person at the.
Oh, yes, in person, yes.
Sorry,
In person.
okay.
Right now, everyone is working remotely, except for a few of our essential employees in the Miami office. So one of the reasons why, it's not posted, because we were trying to figure out how does that onboarding process what it really looks like, because we've not onboarded a remote service desk employee before. We've since kind of identified what that would look like. And so ideally, we would like to bring on that headcount.
Okay, and the one follow-up to that was, they were asking, so it's in person, so would it be like you guys would hire for it as soon as possible, or are you waiting to see what happens with COVID and going back in person?
No. That's one of our, what we consider our need to fill essential roles right now. So it was just figuring out how do we onboard and then going from there with COVID, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? So I will mention to you all that we speak to Alexis on a regular basis. Her goal, and she really wanted to do this session, is to really kind of get to introduce herself to you guys and, explain what GE is all about. And I've listened to this a couple times. We've talked a couple times, and I learned more today again. And the visual was really helpful because I made my own visual when we met over the phone. But as you can see, GE has a lot to offer. It's not just appliances. So I really like that you explain that. And they're right here in our backyard. So our goal with Alexis is to continue this relationship, help her create a pipeline for South Florida talent via NSU. And I'm hoping you guys will just, continue to read our emails. We will be sharing all the updates that Alexis gives us. She does participate in Handshake, but for every recruiter, sometimes they don't want to post it. Sometimes it's on their website. And when Alexis sends us, a recruiter like Alexis or any recruiter sends it to us, we will send it out via email also. So just kind of check out your emails, make sure you're reading them, and just stay in communication with us. We would love to have Alexis in fall. How that looks, I'm not sure if it'll look like this again or it'll be in person. We'll have to kind of see where things take us with the situation everyone's in right now. And either way, I do know this, we will be having, if we're not in person, which I'm hoping that's not the case, but if we aren't and we're all online again, Career Development has decided they will be hosting a virtual career fair. This year, it was just too hard to convert within like 5 days from person to virtual. So we will definitely make sure Alexis is there. Hopefully it's in person, but if not, and as she gets more information, we'll share that with you guys. And hopefully, things will change for everyone, and then there'll be tons of internships and everyone can get an opportunity.
Yes. So hopefully I meet you guys. Thank you guys for having me. This is my first NSU info session, and actually my second info session ever for GE Miami. So you guys are really ahead of the curve of what's happening in Miami in terms of student pipeline and really building that at our office in Coconut Grove. So that's really awesome.